In the heart of Chicago's financial district, 2025 had been a lucrative year for Sinclair Holdings, a private wealth management firm known for its exclusivity and tight-lipped client list. On the top floor of a shimmering black glass tower, CEO Preston Sinclair ran his empire with discipline and an air of untouchable wealth. A self-made millionaire, Preston had clawed his way from a middle-class upbringing to one of the most feared names in finance. He was sharp, calculated, and known for testing his employees in unusual ways. So when Preston noticed a new janitor on the night shift, an older black man named Elijah, his curiosity piqued. Elijah was quiet, respectful, and efficient. Too efficient, in Preston's mind. He worked with intention, as if every polished tile mattered. Preston didn't like loose ends, and for reasons even he couldn't articulate, he began to watch Elijah on the security cameras after hours. And then, one night, Preston decided to run a test. He left the safe in his private office unlocked. The safe, a matte black titanium vault behind an art panel, held nearly $2.5 million in bearer bonds, a vintage Rolex Daytona worth over $300,000, and a flash drive containing proprietary client algorithms. The kind of assets people kill for. The cameras rolled. Preston sat at home, watching the live feed from his tablet. He watched as Elijah entered the office just after 11:12 p.m. The man moved with the same routine as always. Empty the trash, wipe the desk, buff the floor. He worked with a small radio clipped to his belt, softly playing old jazz. Then, as he turned to dust the back wall, he saw the panels slightly ajar. Preston leaned forward on his couch. Elijah paused. Slowly, he slid the panel open and stared at the safe, wide open, full of temptation. He stood there for a moment. 30 seconds. 45. He stepped closer. Preston's pulse quickened. Then Elijah did something completely unexpected. He took out his phone. Not to take pictures, not to call anyone, but to turn on the flashlight. Then he pulled a notepad from his back pocket. It was the company's maintenance log. He scribbled something, closed the safe gently, slid the panel shut, and walked out of the office. Preston froze. He rewound the footage. There was no hesitation, no sneaky glances, just the light, the log, and a careful resealing of something that could have changed Elijah's life in seconds. The next morning, Preston entered the office early. The maintenance log sat on his desk. The note read, "Safe found unsecured at 11:17 p.m. Secured and logged. Elijah M." That was it. No drama. No self-congratulations. Later that afternoon, Preston called Elijah into his office. The man arrived in his uniform, hat in hand, calm and unaware. Preston stared at him. "You knew it was open?" "Yes, sir. And you didn't touch anything?" "I logged it, sir. Didn't seem like my place to touch more than I had to." Preston leaned back. Most people wouldn't have resisted that, especially after seeing what was inside. Elijah gave a soft smile. "With respect, Mr. Sinclair, some things worth having can't be taken. They have to be earned." Silence filled the room. Preston, a man who believed trust was a myth and loyalty a currency, felt something shift. He nodded, then dismissed Elijah. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. The story leaked, first through a junior associate who had heard whispers from HR, then through an internal memo accidentally shared with a vendor. Soon the media caught wind. Chicago CEO tests janitor's integrity, shocked by the result. Social media exploded. Some accused Preston of being manipulative. Others called Elijah a hero. But one thing became clear. People were hungry for a story where character outshined cash. Preston, seeing the reaction, made a rare public statement. "I spent years building my company on numbers, forecasts, and market instincts. But no algorithm predicted what a man with nothing to prove could show me in 10 seconds." The statement went viral. 2 weeks later, Elijah received more than applause. Preston offered him a permanent role at Sinclair Holdings, not in janitorial services, but as head of facilities integrity, a newly created